Adoptive parents, what naive comment from your child exposed how much they had suffered before. My wife and I were trying to conceive for a long time, and even though we knew she was infertile and I couldn't produce proper seeds, we didn't give up. So when we finally saw the plus sign on a pregnancy test, I almost ran a marathon, and my wife cried so hard, it depleted all her energy. I was about to tell everyone in our lives, but my wife stopped me, saying she wanted to be sure before she told anyone. So we immediately booked a doctor's appointment. But the doctor delivered the worst news of our lives. It was a false positive, and my wife wasn't pregnant. We went home feeling defeated, and my wife barely said a word to me. I couldn't even think of anything new to say to her. I already told her, maybe next time we'll get lucky, or we just need to keep trying. At this point, it just felt like I was lying to her. But then my wife said something that surprised me. She said maybe we should adopt. I wasn't against the idea. It didn't matter to me how we got a kid, I just wanted one. So, we started the adoption process after talking about it for a couple weeks, to make sure this is something we really wanted to do. Fast forward to now, we adopted a boy named Lucas. He was 9 and small for his age, and we noticed he had this habit of being overly polite. My wife theorized that he was probably afraid we'd send him back to the orphanage if he breathed too loudly, and said we needed to do our best to make him feel welcomed. So we did. We gave him his own room, went shopping to decorate it, asked him to join us for movie nights, and talked to him about his life. But it seemed like we were falling on deaf ears. Lucas made no effort to try to get to know us. His room didn't reflect an ounce of his personality. He sat far from us on the couch when we watched movies, and he was so quiet sometimes it felt like he wasn't there, and he refused to speak about his life. I really wanted to get through to him and form a good father-son bond. I wanted to be someone he could depend on for anything. So, I dragged him along to run errands with me to spend time with him. Our first errand of the day was grocery shopping. I told him he could pick a few things he liked. I even had to reassure him that it was fine, and I wasn't going to punish him if he grabbed a lot of things. When he ran off, I expected him to bring back candy and chips. Instead, he loaded the cart with tissue boxes. They weren't even the cheap tissues. They were the expensive kind. I asked him why he needed so many tissues, and he shrugged and said they're a quality product. At first, I thought it was just a funny kid thing, but then he said he couldn't carry a lot of tissue boxes, and asked me to bring the cart to the aisle instead. I crouched down to his level and gently asked him, "Hey buddy, why so many tissues?" He froze like I had caught him stealing. He shrugged again and said, "Expensive tissues are much better." He said the ingredients in them suck up the moisture from the air, which makes them high quality. Then he mumbled something about them being sweet. That caught me off guard, so I asked what he meant by that. He kept looking away and fidgeting with his hands, as if contemplating on telling me the truth. I reassured him that nothing bad would happen to him. I was just worried about him. He said, "Promise me you won't get mad," and I nodded. He said, "I used to eat them when we didn't have food at the orphanage. The expensive ones taste sweet." I swear my heart stopped for a second. I honestly thought stuff like that only happened in some sad show. I even said that to him, trying to make him laugh. He just nodded and hung his head low as he said, "It was from TV. That's how I knew it was safe." I nearly cried. I told him, "You never have to do that again. I am going to feed you so much real food you are going to get sick of it." He looked up at me, and I could see he was trying not to be hopeful, as he asked me if that was true. I started crying right there, and repeated that it was true over and over. He said, "Okay, but can I still get one box, for when I miss it?" I bought him one tissue box, but reassured him he would never need it. I could tell he still didn't think that was true, but to this day, that tissue box sits on a shelf in his room, unopened.